You know that feeling, right? You're staring at this completely endless to-do list, feeling this low-grade, just constant hum of anxiety in the back of your skull.
Yeah, that tension that never really goes away.
Exactly. And you realize with absolute certainty that there simply isn't enough time in the day to get it all done. So you're exhausted, you're burnt out, but somehow when you finally close your laptop at like 7 p.m., you still feel this gnawing guilt that you just haven't done enough.
It is a very specific, very modern paradox. I mean, we are arguably doing more tasks than any generation before us, yet we constantly feel like we're falling behind.
Totally.
And it creates this pervasive underlying stress that, well, that doesn't just stay at the office, right? It follows you right into your living room, into your weekend, your vacation.
Which is exactly what we're unpacking in today's deep dive. We're exploring this really fascinating conversation between productivity expert Dr. Cal Newport and Mel Robbins. And our mission today is to dissect this growing movement they talk about around slow productivity.
It's such a crucial concept right now.
It really is. We want to uncover some practical, science-backed strategies from their talk to help you avoid that burnout, reclaim your personal time, and honestly just build a more meaningful life. So, okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can fix the burnout, we really have to understand where this feeling of endless, frantic busyness actually comes from.
Right. To understand why you feel so overwhelmed, we really have to look at how our society's definition of work just fundamentally broke down.
How so?
Well, if you take a quick trip through economic history, productivity used to be incredibly easy to measure. Like, if you worked in agriculture, productivity was simply bushels of wheat harvested per acre.
Oh, sure. Very straightforward.
Yeah. Or if you were in a manufacturing plant in the 1920s, it was the number of Model Ts rolling off the assembly line per day. The work was visible. It was a tangible mathematical ratio of input to output.
Right. You could literally point to a physical pile of stuff at the end of your shift and say, hey, I made that. I was productive today. Now I'm going home.
Precisely. But then the 1950s roll around and we see the massive emergence of knowledge work. Suddenly, millions of people are working primarily with their brains, not their hands.
The physical widgets just disappeared.
Exactly. And think about it. How do you measure the daily output of, say, a marketing strategist or a software developer who's just debugging code on a Tuesday afternoon?
I mean, you can't just count the number of keystrokes. Well, I guess some terrible companies try to do that, but...
Right, but it obviously doesn't equate to good ideas.
No, not at all.
Because knowledge workers couldn't easily quantify their brain output, the corporate world essentially panicked. Management still needed a way to evaluate who was a good worker and who wasn't.
They needed a metric.
Yeah, so they adopted a rough proxy for productivity. It's a concept Newport calls pseudo productivity.
Pseudo productivity, I love that term, but what does it actually look like in practice for, a normal person?
It means we started using visible activity as a substitute for actual valuable output. Like, if I can't measure your brilliant ideas, I'm going to measure how fast you reply to my emails.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Or I'm going to look at whether you're sitting in back-to-back meetings all day. I'm going to check if your Slack dot is green at 8 p.m. Just projecting a general aura of frantic busyness became the new gold standard.
So the more I see you doing, the more useful I assume you are.
Exactly.
Which explains so much about modern office culture. But Newport and Robbins point out that this constant performance of busyness is actually ruining our brain.
It's completely degrading our cognitive abilities.
Yeah, there's this powerful analogy about cognitive degradation they discuss that I can't stop thinking of.
Yeah.
Because we have this demand for visible busyness, we are constantly leaning on low-friction digital tools. Firing off quick emails, checking notifications, scrolling through highly charged social media content.
Right.
And it's compared to a professional athlete who sits around smoking cigarettes and drinking milkshakes right before a big championship game.
It's a brutal image, but from a neurological standpoint, it's highly accurate.
I hear that, but let's be honest, we all kind of like the milkshakes.
Oh, of course.
We like that quick dopamine hit of clearing an inbox or getting a like on a post.
Yeah.
It feels like we're doing something.
It does feel good in the moment because it's specifically engineered to trigger that dopamine release. But the mechanism behind it is dangerous. Every time you switch your attention from a deep, complex problem to check a ping on your phone, you are leaving a residue of your attention behind.
A residue.
Yeah, a cognitive residue. And over time, living in this state of continuous partial attention completely throws your brain out of shape. When it comes time to actually think hard, to be deeply creative, or to push a complex project over the finish line, you physically struggle.
Because the muscle is weak.
Exactly. You literally lack the cognitive endurance to hold a hard thought in your head for more than a few minutes.
And that leads to a massive aha moment for anyone listening who feels overwhelmed by their mornings. That daily to-do list you write out while drinking your coffee. The one with like 25 items on it.
The impossible list.
Right. It's not a plan. It's actually a wish list. It is an unrealistic, anxiety-inducing fairy tale where you are trying to pack 3 days of deep cognitive work into a single 8-hour window.
Which is impossible.
You are setting yourself up for guaranteed failure before you even leave the kitchen.
Because the human brain is biologically terrible at estimating how long abstract knowledge-based tasks actually take. We assume writing that report will take an hour when historically it always takes 3.
But wait, let me push back on this a bit.
Sure.
If we're all just pretending to be productive by doing these easy, shallow tasks, replying to messages, shuffling papers, why does it feel so deeply exhausting? If it's just pseudo-productivity, shouldn't we be breezing through the day?
That is the insidious part of this dynamic. What's fascinating here is how this pseudo-productivity culture didn't just stay confined to the office from 9 to 5. It bled right into our personal lives.
Oh, absolutely.
This cultural narrative that more is better and busy equals important just permeated our entire society.
The glorification of the hustle.
Right. So now, consider the psychological weight of that. If you are an empty nester trying to figure out your next chapter, or if you simply just want to sit on your couch and stare at the wall on a Sunday afternoon, you feel this profound, creeping sense of guilt.
You feel like you're failing at life if you aren't constantly up to something.
Exactly. Like you have to be monetizing a hobby, renovating a kitchen, optimizing your workout. The exhaustion you feel isn't just physical fatigue from typing emails. It's the crushing psychological weight of never, ever allowing yourself to just exist.
Okay, so this constant busyness is essentially a historical accident that we all internalize as an absolute truth. So if the baseline is broken, how do we rebuild it? How do we escape the trap?
Well, the most practical starting point discussed in the source materials is radically reducing our active workload. We have to eliminate the hidden bottlenecks.
Which means what exactly?
It means you have to start doing fewer things at the exact same time.
At the same time.
The phrase "at the same time" is the operational key there. This is where people get defensive. They think slowing down means giving up on their ambitions or settling for mediocrity.
Right, like they're just checking out.
But it's not about doing less over your lifetime. It's about sequence. It's about limiting the active parallel projects on your plate because of a concept known as administrative overhead.
Okay, let's unpack administrative overhead because I feel like this is the hidden tax of being a helpful person.
It absolutely is. Think of it this way. Every single project you say yes to does not just require the time to execute the core task. It brings its own gravitational pull of administrative tasks.
It generates emails, check-in meetings, status updates.
And those quick got a second conversations.
Right. If I agree to help organize a charity drive, I'm not just showing up on Saturday. I'm now in a group text thread that buzzes 40 times a day.
Exactly. And if you take on too many projects simultaneously, this administrative overhead expands exponentially until it eats your entire day. You end up spending 8 hours a day just talking about the work, coordinating the work, and reporting on the work.
Leaving 0 hours to actually do the work.
Exactly. Counterintuitively, if you force yourself to do fewer things at once, your overall completion rate skyrockets. You actually have the clear, unburdened time to finish a project and get its overhead completely off your plate before starting the next one.
I love that. You know, taking on too many tasks at once is like having 50 browser tabs open on your laptop.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Even if you are actively only looking at one tab, say typing a document, the other 49 tabs are running background processes. They're constantly refreshing, playing auto ads, draining your battery to 0. Your computer's cooling fan is whirring like a jet engine. The screen is freezing. You're getting absolutely nowhere.
Yes.
To get the machine working again, you don't need a better processor. You just have to close the tabs.
That is a perfect way to visualize the cognitive load on your brain. And closing those mental tabs requires facing a concept Newport frames as the productivity dragon.
The dragon. I found this idea so confronting.
It really is.
This is where you have to do a harsh, unfiltered reality check on your grand ambitions against your current season of life. You have to look at your master list of goals training for a marathon, learning conversational Spanish, fixing up the guest room, gunning for a massive promotion, and admit that they cannot physically all fit into your current reality.
Because you have to respect the constraints of the season you are actually in, not the season you wish you were in.
Right.
The conversation highlights some very relatable examples, like maybe you are currently raising 2 toddlers, or you're deeply involved in caring for aging parents, or you're navigating a massive, stressful career pivot.
You can't just operate as if you have the free time of a 22-year-old with 0 responsibilities.
Exactly. There's a wonderful story shared about a man named Chris who desperately wanted to get his MBA. But he had 2 kids under the age of 5 and a demanding full-time job.
That's a lot.
Instead of burning himself out by trying to jam a full-time 2-year intensive program into a season of life that simply could not support it, he radically changed his timeline.
What did he do?
He took 1 single class a semester. It took him 7 years to finish.
See, I want to pause right there. 7 years. For a lot of high achievers listening, taking 7 years to do a 2-year program sounds like failure. It sounds agonizingly slow.
It does sound slow if you are measuring your worth by speed. But think about the psychology of what he did. He valued a sustainable process over a rushed, chaotic outcome. He protected his health and his relationship with his kids.
That's huge.
And here is the profound takeaway. Doing things slowly doesn't matter in the long run. 10 years from now, no one is going to ask Chris how fast he finished. He still has the MBA.
Right. The degree doesn't say took 7 years on it. That is a huge perspective shift. But let's be real. Protecting that specific season of life means you have to start saying no to people. You have to turn down opportunities. And for a lot of us, especially people pleasers, setting those boundaries is terrifying.
It is, because we vastly overestimate the social cost of saying no. If you struggle with boundaries, you have to realize a hard truth. People do not care about your workload as much as you think they do.
Ouch, but true.
When a colleague asks you to take on a task, they do not possess a mental master spreadsheet of your life's obligations. They aren't weighing your stress levels. They simply have a task that is stressing them out, and they want to pass the buck.
They want an open loop closed.
Yes. If you say no, they won't dwell on it. They will literally just pivot and ask the next person on their list.
Okay, that handles the unwanted obligations. But what about the stuff we actually want to do? Like, sometimes I say yes because a project sounds genuinely fun in theory, but when the deadline arrives 3 months later, I am miserable.
For those exact moments, you need to apply the Matt Damon Rule.
Yes. Walk us through this because it's such a good filter.
The rule is designed to combat a psychological glitch called temporal discounting.
Temporal discounting.
Yeah, which is our tendency to view our future selves as strangers who somehow have unlimited time and energy.
Well, I do that all the time.
We all do. So before you commit to anything in the future, a speaking gig, a new committee, a weekend trip, project yourself to the night before the event. Imagine it is 8 p.m. tonight and the commitment is tomorrow morning. If you wouldn't be absolutely thrilled to pack your bags and go tomorrow, then you need to say no today.
Because you aren't magically going to have more free time or energy 3 months from now. Your life will be just as busy then as it is today.
Exactly. It forces you to feel the reality of the commitment in your current body, not your imaginary future body.
Okay, so let's say I've successfully offended a few people, I've cleared the clutter, I've faced the dragon, and I am doing fewer things. Eventually, I still have to sit down and do the actual work. How do we execute without just reverting back to that frantic pseudo-productive sprint?
You have to fundamentally change your pace. You need to respect your brain's biological limits rather than treating it like a machine. And since we already established that our brains are terrible at estimating task duration, you have to completely throw away the wish list approach to your day.
So if I'm not writing a giant to-do list, what am I doing?
You have to embrace time blocking. You look at your calendar and you assign specific work to specific bounded hours of the day. You are literally mapping your intentions onto physical time.
Okay, give me an example.
From 9 to 10:30 a.m., I am doing deep, focused writing on this one report. From 1 to 1:30 p.m., I am exclusively answering emails.
But here's where the friction hits.
Yeah.
If your brain is wildly out of shape, if you've been smoking those digital cigarettes and drinking those notification milkshakes for years, sitting down for a 90-minute block of deep work is going to feel physically impossible. Your brain will violently rebel.
It will. You will feel a literal physical discomfort.
Right. So to fix this, Newport and Robbins recommend rebuilding your cognitive endurance, using a technique that is basically interval training for your brain.
It treats your attention span exactly like a muscle that has atrophied and needs to be systematically strengthened.
Here is how you do it. And it sounds simple, but it is brutal. You pick a cognitively demanding task writing, strategizing, studying, and you set a timer for just 20 minutes.
Just 20.
But here's the hard rule. If you glance at your phone, if you open a new browser tab, if you check your inbox, if you give in to distraction for even a microsecond, you must restart the timer back at 0.
The accountability mechanism is crucial there, but let's talk about what actually happens during those 20 minutes. When you first try this, about 4 minutes in, you're going to hit a wall of boredom or frustration with the task.
Oh, definitely.
Your brain, which is used to a steady drip of cheap dopamine from quick distractions, is going to scream for a hit. You will feel an overwhelming, almost itchy compulsion to grab your phone.
It's essentially withdrawal symptoms.
It really is. But if you force yourself to sit in that discomfort, to stare at the blank page and not tab over to social media, you are actively rewiring your neural pathways. You are teaching your brain how to tolerate the friction of hard work again.
You do this 20-minute interval training for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, to build that initial baseline muscle. Then you add 10 minutes. So now you're at 30 minutes of unbroken focus.
Right.
You do that for 2 weeks, then 40. The ultimate goal, according to the research, is to comfortably reach 90-minute blocks of deep, uninterrupted focus.
And the ROI on that is massive. If you can get just one 90-minute block of true deep work done in a day, you are likely producing more actual value than someone who sits at a desk frantic and distracted for 8 hours.
But let me play devil's advocate here. I can time block my perfect 90 minutes. I can set my timer. And then at 9:15 a.m., my kid throws up at school or a server crashes at work and my boss is losing their mind.
Yeah, life happens.
The plan blows up. Doesn't time blocking just create more stress when reality hits?
That is a very practical reality check. And the answer is, of course, the plan will blow up. That is inevitable. But the goal of time blocking is not perfection. It's intention.
Intention.
Yes. When the emergency happens, you handle it. But because you have a visual map of your day, when the dust settles at 11:30 a.m., you don't just drown in the chaos. You take a breath, you look at the time you have left in the day, and you actively update the time blocks. You pivot, you shift the deep work to tomorrow, and you move forward intentionally.
Here's where this gets really interesting to me. Scheduling your day with this level of rigor actually creates more freedom and relaxation. David Allen's concept of full capture is brought up in these discussions, and it explains why.
It's a great concept.
When you get all your obligations, your worries, and your tasks out of your head and onto a physical calendar, you eliminate what psychologists call open loops.
It's exactly like freeing up RAM on a computer.
Exactly. If your brain is constantly using background energy, trying to remember that you need to buy milk, email accounting, and prep for Thursday's meeting, you can never truly relax. Your brain is always on high alert so you don't drop a ball.
Which is exhausting.
But when you look at your calendar and see that email accounting is scheduled for 2 p.m. tomorrow, the loop closes. Your brain trusts the system. The mental relief is profound. You can actually log off and be present with your family.
That makes perfect sense for personal organization. But this raises the biggest point of friction in this entire philosophy. It's one thing to time block your own personal projects. But how do you do this deep work when you exist in a corporate culture that expects you to answer Slack messages within 3 minutes?
The dreaded green dot.
Yeah. How do you slow down when your boss demands constant visible availability?
Yes. This is the trap most knowledge workers are caught in, which leads us to the final and perhaps most important piece of the puzzle, obsessing over the quality of your work.
Quality is the key.
If you pace yourself and train your focus, the natural byproduct is that the quality of your work skyrockets. And focusing intensely on quality is actually your ultimate shield against the demands of the pseudo productivity culture.
It creates a fascinating leverage dynamic with management. As you start to care more about the deep value of what you produce, the performative busyness naturally loses its appeal.
Makes sense.
But more importantly, when you start producing exceptionally good work, and when you are highly organized, meaning you never drop the ball, and you always deliver exactly when you say you will, you build massive, unshakable trust with your boss.
Right, because what your boss actually wants isn't for you to be busy. They don't care if you're typing fast, they just want their own anxiety to go away.
Precisely. If they hand you a complex problem and they trust that you are organized enough to solve it beautifully by next Wednesday, their stress vanishes. That trust buys you autonomy, it buys you breathing room. They stop micromanaging your daily schedule or checking your online status because they know the outcome is guaranteed.
I hear that, but some corporate cultures are just deeply toxic. If you are in a deeply entrenched, meeting-heavy culture, producing good work might not be enough. You might have to force the issue.
That's true.
But you can't just walk into your manager's office and say, hey, I'm doing slow productivity now, please leave me alone. That just makes you sound lazy and entitled.
Exactly. You never whine about having too many meetings. Instead, you have a highly professional, data-driven conversation. You frame the entire discussion around value and the company's bottom line.
Walk us through that script. How do I actually have that conversation?
You sit down with your boss and you define the difference between deep work, the focused, uninterrupted work that actually moves the needle and generates revenue, and shallow work, which is all the administrative stuff, the meetings, the endless emails.
Okay.
You ask your boss, looking at my specific role, what is the ideal ratio of deep work to shallow work that will produce the maximum value for this team?
You make them pick a number.
Yes, maybe they say it should be a 50-50 split.
And once they agree on that 50-50 goal, you have your leverage. You track your time meticulously for a week, and you come back and show them the hard data.
Right.
You say, look, I really want to hit that 50% target we agreed on so I can deliver these major projects for you. But currently, the sheer volume of mandatory status meetings and instant messaging is forcing my schedule into 80% shallow work and only 20% deep work. How can we fix this system together so I can give you better results?
It's brilliant because suddenly it's not you whining about being tired, it's you collaborating with your boss to solve a systemic inefficiency. It's about increasing your value to the company. And the consensus among productivity experts is that people are often shocked by how accommodating managers are when presented with this kind of objective data.
So we've talked a lot about the workplace, but if we pull the camera all the way back, this idea of slow productivity isn't really just a corporate life hack to get your boss off your back. It is fundamentally a roadmap to what Newport calls the deep life.
The deep life, yes. It's the philosophy of spending your limited time deeply engaged with things that actually matter to you. Your craft, your family, your community, while aggressively minimizing the rest.
I love that.
It's about recognizing that the ultimate cost of our distracted, pseudo-productive world isn't just that we're inefficient at our jobs, it's that we are fundamentally losing touch with ourselves.
And that is the true danger of the distraction economy. What stands out to you as you listen to this? Are you filling your weekends with meaningless chores and optimization hacks because slowing down to actually think about your life goals is too scary?
It's a profound avoidance tactic. When we constantly lean on busyness, we are using it to hide from the void. Without time alone with our thoughts, time that is completely unmediated by a screen or a task, we lose the ability to self-reflect.
We lose our perspective.
We lose the ability to process our complex experiences, to understand why a certain interaction made us feel sad or angry, and to ultimately define our own personal values.
So what does this all mean for you tomorrow morning? To truly reclaim your time and avoid burnout, you have to stop measuring your self-worth by visible busyness. You have to face the dragon and look honestly at the realities of your current season of life.
Yes, absolutely.
You must force yourself to do fewer things at once to lower that draining administrative overhead. You need to train your brain's endurance by leaning into the discomfort of 20-minute focus intervals. You must assign your tasks to specific blocks of time to close those mental loops. And finally, negotiate your right to do deep work based on the massive value you provide.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. It was pointed out that just 15 or 20 years ago, before smartphones took over the world, we were regularly forced to sit in silence with our own thoughts.
Oh, I remember that.
You would wait in line at the grocery store or sit at a cafe waiting for a friend to arrive, and you just had to be there. Your mind would wander. It was in those countless, quiet, undistracted moments of boredom that we actually processed the events of our lives. It's how we figured out who we were.
Wow. We've completely engineered that out of our daily existence.
We really have. So the next time you find yourself with 5 minutes of unexpected downtime, don't reach into your pocket for your phone. Don't look for a digital milkshake.
Just stand in the line.
Sit in the silence, look around. What uncomfortable or perhaps brilliantly insightful thought is waiting for you when you finally stop being busy and just let your brain breathe?
Because maybe that endless to-do list you're staring at isn't the real problem at all. Maybe the real work is finally being brave enough to put the list down.